Good evening and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen meeting. It is October 3rd, 2024, and it is 7 p.m. Call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum, so we'll move on to the prayer and the pledge. Pastor Randy Berg will be leading the prayer, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be with Boy Scout Troop 340. If everyone would please rise for the prayer and the pledge.
Good evening, everyone. Please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we approach you here now by faith in Jesus' name to ask for your goodness and guidance. First of all, we're thankful, Lord, for our life liberties and the ability to improve life and happiness in our community. And we readily acknowledge our need for your superior wisdom to do this, to help us to discern and respond to all conditions, needs, and developments from your point of view for the best possible outcomes. We also thank you, Lord, for every provision we currently have as a city, because it all ultimately originates from you. Your word says it is actually in you that we live and move and have our being and personhood. That's a fascinating thing, Lord, and humbling to believe that and to live by it. You've said that all our resources ultimately originate from you as Jehovah Jireh, God, our provider. As we choose to believe this, it only remains for you to help us be good stewards of all of this sacred trust. Lord, these your public servants gathered here today need your continuing guidance, blessing, and favor, inasmuch as we of the local church need that as well. We pray that you will bless our local administration with solidarity of purpose, relational warmth, and realization of the vision for our good as a city. Now, Lord, beyond our city and county to points east, we also join our faith and our prayers for all the volunteer groups who are responding to the emergency needs, to fully provide for all needs of those who've suffered as a result of the cataclysmic hurricane and other inland devastations. Lord, we pray for preservation of life, for miraculous locatings and healings and rescues, and for all the resources that are needed to aid all of those who are or have been in harm's way. Lord, please now place your peace and favor upon us as we now conduct this meeting for the furtherance of great good for Laverne, and let it also be a testament of your goodness in our midst. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Scott salute. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Two.
Thank you. Moving on to our order of business, first items to approve the minutes from the August 29th, 2024 workshop and the September 3rd, 2024 regular meeting. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve from Alderwoman Haas. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Vice Mayor No. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion passes. Now we're moving on to our public comment period. We do have one person signed up, and that would be Kurt Kimley. If you'd please come up, state your name and address, and you will have 3 minutes.
My name is Curtis Kubley. I'm at 101 Rock Bluff Court, Nolensville, the Ridge subdivision. And I guess the reason that I wanted to come tonight is to relay some ideas and thoughts of some of the people at the Ridge. Over the course of the last couple of weeks, I guess I've heard what was going to maybe happen with Walden Road, and that you wanted to extend Blair and come on Dobson Knob Trail for one of the back ways of avoiding the Waldron construction when they get going on that, and also the one in Arbor Ridge, I believe. I really would like to hope that you could, before we get this far that we're at, is to try and have an open session meeting. Maybe you did, maybe I missed it, but to let some of the people let you know what their thoughts on this are. You know, when we were the third house in that subdivision, it was 8 years ago. And when Michael's Homes talked to us about building that home, they said that there were going to be 2 entrances. One was going to be where it is now, and then there was going to be a lot nicer one down on Waldron Road. And those guys have not come through with anything that they said. We're waiting on a pool there. It's been 8 years. 8 years. And there's supposed to be a pool there. Still not there. And I think that with the sale, I guess Laverne bought a piece of property along Waldron Road. Now, I don't know what that means. Are you going to have to do the entrance to our subdivision from where it was supposed to be? Or are you going to forget that? Are you going to do retail in the rest of that area? You know, I think that there's a lot of things you need to explain to your constituents. You know, we're not here just for developers. We bought the homes here. And as far as I'm concerned, you know, you should be thinking a little bit about the people that live in the area, not just what a subdivision or developer wants. I find out what they want. They want just their bottom line to be as good as what it can, and the hell with everybody else. They don't care. And I'd like to think that the people that we have here in front of me can probably do a little bit better job of keeping up with what's happening. I understand progress is progress, but boy, you know, that Waldron Road is supposed to be under construction for 6 to 10 years. And we've got people coming through our subdivision. Well, if it isn't that long, I'd like to know. Because that's going to be a thoroughfare for school.
Sir, your time is up.
What's that?
Your time is
Okay.
up.
Anyway, just give some more thought to the people that you're supposed to be representing.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to departmental reports. First, we have Police Department, and Chief Mays is out. Andrew Patton, are you going to handle that one tonight?
No, sir. I see Lieutenant Durham over there. I would imagine he probably has it.
Delegate.
Well, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Aldermen. Most of y'all know me. I'm Lieutenant David Durham. I'm Commander in the Criminal Investigations Division. And I have the lovely privilege of presenting to y'all tonight for Chief Mays, who's couldn't be here. So as you look at the presentation on the board there, as you can see, we've had an increase in vehicle burglaries compared to September 2023. I just want to explain some of that is 27 were from this past month's burglaries at 2 businesses where we're having a trend of common powertrain controllers, CPCs, being extracted from heavy trucks. The CPCs they coordinate the powertrain, the electronic systems, and operational controls of heavy trucks. So we are looking into that. Detectives currently are. Like I said, it's a new trend. We're gathering footage, getting from the locations and gathering serial numbers and doing online investigations to see if they're being sold. There's been an increase in assaults. Most of those are related to domestics. We're still continuing to offer assistance to victims and advise them of resources available to them. Also, there's been a significant decrease in vehicle crashes and injury crashes compared to last year, which we could correlate that to the 73.7 increase in traffic stops, 80.6% increase in speeding citations, and the 10.7% increase in speeding warnings. There's also been a 58.8% increase in DUI arrests, in part to the increased traffic stops, and arrests are also up 29.9% compared to last year. And the last thing I want to discuss is that it's that time of year for scam season. We're starting Medicare annual enrollments, and I know that's everybody loves those phone calls. Do you have Medicare Part A and Part B and all that stuff? Just want to remind our senior citizens not to give out that information. It's illegal. It's against Medicare rules and regulations for them to actually unsolicit or solicit phone calls or go to their house. They actually have to come to you, you know, so you have to go to them actually. So just want to make sure if it's anything suspicious in any way, please contact the police department. Let us investigate it. I don't want to see people's life savings, you know, given away to some foreign country that we can't track it back to and make an arrest on. So, any questions?
I have one.
Yes, sir.
The car thefts, the break-ins, is that mostly cars that's locked and the cars that's not locked?
They were on lots and broken into at the businesses, and like I said, you know how they used to do the, just went blank, the catalytic converter thefts. They're moving on to like the control systems, the CPCs, for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a trend or what. I'm not really seeing a lot across the country as that, but that may be the new trend to do. Easy to sell on Marketplace and hard to get a serial number for it, so.
And the biggest trouble I see about traffic, every red light, when it turns green, you're lucky to get 3 cars through because everybody's on there texting. And especially on Walden Road over there, you know, you liable to sit through three turns right there of the turn red and green, because even if you're third or fourth in line, because when it turns green, it's 15 seconds for that first car. But on the other side, it turned red and 3 cars are running through red.
Right.
So, you know, I think that's gonna be a problem. It's gonna increase, and somebody's gonna get rear-ended, or somebody's gonna get plowed in the intersections.
Yes, sir.
You know, that's one problem I see every time I stop at a red light or green light.
Yes, sir. Anyone else?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And I just want to say, the rookies and everybody, National Night Out was a huge success.
Thank
I might
you.
have stolen the mayor's thunder in his comments, but I wanted to say it right now. They were awesome in helping out.
I
And
know. It's good to see the young ones come out and be so supportive of that we all out there, and, you know, it's good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to the fire department, Chief Beasley's out of the area, so Andrew, are you handling that one as well?
I am not, but
Deputy
Deputy
Chief
Chief Matthews will handle that one. I'll just keep the mic close tonight, I think, right?
Oh, Lord. Good afternoon, or evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Aldermen. Our reports for September, they look just like the rest of them. They trend right on track. Nothing high, nothing low, it's right, status quo. I'm sure everyone knows we sent a strike team to East Tennessee with Rutherford County and Murfreesboro Fire. 12 search and rescue guys went up there Monday afternoon. They've been working every day, 12 hours on, and they will be completed tomorrow. Hopefully come back tomorrow night. Chief Bees is up there as well as a all hazards team leader. So we're real proud of them. They've been doing good work up there. I also wanted to mention that our guys will be selling the breast cancer t-shirts again this year. They look just like they did last year, little changes, but they're $20, and all proceeds go to the Donna Foundation once we're complete. And we'll get that information out somehow to you unofficially, but
Jewel, that's what I'm gonna spend my $20 on, a t-shirt. Thank you.
thanks.
And then,
Any
Nick,
questions?
y'all got the smoke detector program going on right now?
It's always going on. We installed 8 yesterday.
Wonderful.
It's
And
never ending.
So if people need or want a smoke detector changed out, where would they contact?
They would contact Fire Admin at 287-5832, and we'll put you on the calendar, and usually get out there the same day.
Okay.
And October ain't October Fire Prevention Month.
Every month is Fire Prevention Month to me, but
Good time
yes, it is.
Good time to put new batteries in your smoke
Oh, I
alarm.
didn't want to steal your thunder. That's your thing.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Moving on to Parks and Recreation Department, Mr. David McCowan.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board, thank you. You guys have the numbers for the parks for the month. You see 104 help desk tickets, 724 man-hours devoted to those. Past events, September 13th and 14th. Well, the 13th was canceled due to the weather. Cruise In Fall Festival took place on the 14th. Upcoming events, October 18th, Family Movie Night. The 26th is Goblins and Goodies and the Zombie Dance at the park. And then on into November will be Veterans Day ceremony on the 11th here in the Boardroom. Upcoming meetings, October 21st, Park and Rec at 6 p.m. and the Beautification Advisory at 7. The movie will take place at Waldron, Friday, October 18th, 6:30. Monster House is the movie. Parks Department will be providing popcorn and bottled water. Goblins and Goodies takes place October 26th from noon to 3 p.m. at Veterans Park. Costume contest, Pavilion A at 1 p.m. Winners will be announced at 1:30. Age groups, 4 and under, 5 and 9, 10 to 14, and 15 and up. Gift cards will go to first, second, and third place winners. Zombie Dance will start at 2 p.m. And then on into November, that will take place here in the Boardroom on November the 11th, 11 o'clock. As of now, we have 2 guest speakers lined up, and we are waiting for a third to confirm. Any questions? Thank you,
Y'all
guys.
did a great job with the Fall Festival. I know it was calling for a rain out, and the weather was beautiful till 30 minutes
Well,
after it was over.
I don't know who to actually blame that on, because the vice mayor knows we do not talk about the weather that week or at any event week. And I look at his Facebook page and he's like, come on out next Saturday, it's gonna be a beautiful day, and then we get a hurricane brewing.
So you get yelled at, Mayor, if you don't advertise it. And now you get chastised because you do advertise it.
Welcome to the role on the board.
I always said, don't never plan nothing the second weekend after Labor Day, because that's the Red Boiling Spring Car Show, and I've done it for 30 years, and I've only had 2 years out of 30 that's been a good weekend. It's at least been raining or calling for rain.
Oh, it was a good weekend that Saturday, we made it happen, so.
It was.
Unfortunate for Friday night, but we probably could have pulled Friday night off, but you got those classic cars, they're not coming out with any chance of weather, but I'm not gonna hold it against the vice mayor, he means well. He's still my horse 100% of the time.
And I just want to say, your guys did a great job National Night Out also.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Moving on to the Library Department, Ms. Donna Bebout. I think he's already done that once before.
He has. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Aldermen. Good to see you all tonight. I am very disappointed in the picture that we have. This is one of those great pictures that Jeff Riley took. It is absolutely beautiful. I need to bring it one day and let you see it. It is the back of the library from the bridge, and it just looks beautifully spooky. And Jeff does an excellent job with his photographer, so thanks to him. Okay, our attendance is staying steady, 3,210. Circulation was right up there with our attendance, 3,022, and we gave out 94 new patron cards. We had 5 programs in September. We're getting them ramped back up. October will be full, and a schedule will be out very soon, but I put down a few of the October happenings here. So over to the side, Tuesday, October the 8th at 5 p.m. is Family Craft Night. It's build your own bottle rocket, and that's a water bottle rocket, and we will launch them. It will be a lot of fun. Thursday, October the 17th at 5 until 6 p.m., this is a new time that we are putting in. It's in between story times. So we are having ages 8 to 11. So hard to find things for that age group. One of our younger staff members, who is new, very kindly said, I will do it. And so it's going to include books, music, crafts, and more. There'll probably be board games. There should be video games at times. They may even have a dance party. But I've heard a lot of really good comments that they're glad that there's something that's going to be for the 8 to 11-year-olds. And then Monday, October 28th at 5 p.m. is our Strings and Things adult craft class. That is always full. Everyone loves the craft class that Miss Mary does. This time it's fall canvas greeting. It's with a 7x7 canvas board and napkins and Mod Podge. And so it should be really, really cool. That is a sign up in advance. Down at the bottom, you'll see Spooky Spectacular with Mr. Ritchie. This is fun for the entire family. This is Thursday, October the 24th at 5 p.m. You can wear a costume or even a mask. Just be at our event. That's all we ask. We'll have great entertainment from Mr. Ritchie, and then we'll have a goodie bag and snacks to give away with the children, to the children. We won't give away children.
I know the vice mayor's looking for some.
Oh, is he? And the library will close at 5 p.m. on Thursday, October 31st, in order for our employees to get home safely so that they can have trick-or-treaters come to their house. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Moving on to the Finance Department, Ms. Danielle Brown.
Good evening. I'm not going to walk across the room. Mr. Andrew, I'm just going to stop here. In your packet is included the financial information for the month of August. The first page is the revenue and the expenditures based off of the funds. On the right-hand side, it shows you the percentage that's collected and the percentage that's been spent as of August. Page 2 provides the book balance of the bank accounts for the city. Page 3, the graph includes July and August, so I'll revise this a little bit more next month to show the general fund and the water sewer fund, if you keep going down just a little bit. So, yeah, yes.
Say we got to get to the graph.
Yes. So that's all the information for the financial report. I did want to let you know that this month, the city of Laverne reached the $1 million mark on GovDeals for selling surplus items since May of 2005. So 935 items have been sold, so that's approximately $1,100 per item.
Wow,
So,
impressive.
you-
Thank you.
Any questions?
I had a bunch of questions, but I picked up the wrong notebook
Oh,
when I
darn.
left the house. I'll see you tomorrow, I guess.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Moving on to the water treatment plant, Mr. Danny.
Got one last chance. You got one last chance. You did. I passed that along. I appreciate it. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board. Hope you've had the opportunity to look over the water plant's monthly report for September. Couple things to note. We did have an inspection for recertification for our bacteriological lab by TDEC. That was, we were given certification for another 3 years. Also, Infomark was happy to take part in the Fall Festival with their booth, handing out merchandise and interacting with the customers. It's always a fun time for us, so we're really happy to be a sponsor and be a part of that day. And also, the Senior Center got their T-shirts for their Wii Bowling League that we sponsor every year. I had the honor of going down there, watching them bowl a little bit and taking a picture with them, which was really enjoyable for me. So, and I'm glad that they were all very thankful as always. It's again a pleasure for us as Infomark, myself personally, to be a part of that. So, any questions?
Well, I was gonna thank him and Infomark.
I'll still let you. You can do it now. You can save it for later. Whatever you want.
But I was down there the other day, Tuesday, when they was bowling. They looked really good. I like that. What is that, a teal?
Yes.
Is that a teal
I would say
color?
I didn't pick the color. That
looks
was
good.
Miss
I know
Kristen
you-
did a good job making those.
I know you worked with Kristen Morlock, and
Yep.
you guys got them down and got them out, and everybody was happy. I can't thank you enough for you and Infomark for sponsoring. communicating, making it a very easy thing to do. So thank you, Danny. And
It's our pleasure. So
at
Thank you.
this time next year, I'll become bumming.
Sounds good. We expect it. We appreciate it. We enjoy being involved with it.
Any other questions? Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
Moving on to the consent agenda. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Vice Mayor No. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Moving on to new business. Resolution 2024-26, a resolution of the City of Laverne Board of Mayor and Aldermen to declare property owned by the city to be surplus to the city's needs and directing disposal of the same. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve to start moving towards our next $1 million.
Motion to approve from Vice Mayor No. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alderwoman Haas. Alderman Waldron.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Aye.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2024-27, a resolution to approve a land acquisition policy for additional real estate property interests needed for the Blair Road West project. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Vice Mayor No. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alderwoman Haas. Alderman Waldron.
Pass.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Aye.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Number 7, motion to authorize the mayor to execute a settlement agreement regarding the Cochran lawsuit. This is we had an executive session earlier this afternoon on this. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Alderwoman Haas. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alderwoman Hobbs. Alderman Waldron.
Pass.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Aye.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No.
Aye.
Motion passes. Number 8, appoint or remove board and committee members. We've got one position and one applicant. That would be for Parks and Rec Advisory Committee, and that'd be Miss Mary Jane Skinner. I will appoint her to that board. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. And then last but not least, we've got motion to approve a contract amendment with Kimley-Horn for the extension of Dobson Knob Trail to the proposed Blair Road extension. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Vice Mayor No. Is there a second?
Second for discussion.
Second from Alderwoman Hobbs. I'll open it up.
So I wanted to start this evening. I received a letter that I promised a resident on Dobson Knob Trail that I would read. She's got a family member on hospice, was unable to be here this evening. To the City of Laverne, my name is Jackie Valentine. I live at 188 Dobson Knob Trail in the Ridge. To be honest, it feels like a moot point to try to voice any dissonant opinion to the board. In the past, my attempts have appeared to fall on deaf ears. Specifically, during the Arbor Ridge approval process, I tried to speak at 2 different meetings, arriving early to sign up both times. Both times meetings were surprisingly front-loaded with people in favor of Arbor Ridge. It's both appalling and disheartening. I also sent multiple emails. Those also fell on deaf ears at the time. Those were quickly dismissed. I'm a resident that this development and all the development around it directly affects. I personally will feel and hear its impact. Who else here can say the same? Likely not many. I currently side and back up to the wooded areas that will soon become a part of Arbor Ridge. In the near future, my side yard will become a congested area with through traffic instead of looking back to woods. I now get to back up and enjoy the view of whatever commercial buildings will take their place. Obviously, this development will go through, but what I'm asking now is what can the board do to make it better for the residents it directly affects? Can tree lines, buffering zones be extended, increased to lessen their impact? What other options exist for through traffic? Does it have to be this specific spot, or is this just an easy option? I'm a certified residential appraiser in Tennessee. These improvements typically are considered adverse external influences in which can deflate property values anywhere from 8 to 10% unless they're directly buffered, extensively buffered, excuse me. Truly, I am asking. No, I'm pleading at this point. Please hear me and please do something and help. As the board, what can you do to help these residents this will negatively impact? And how can you help mitigate any adverse effects on our properties? I'm asking you to care, and I'm asking you for your help. Sincerely, Jackie Valentine. First, I'd like to express my concern that this item was placed on the consent agenda. The consent agenda is a tool used to streamline our meeting processes by collecting routine and non-controversial items to a group whereby all are passed with a single motion and vote without discussion. By initially putting this item within the consent agenda lacks transparency to our citizens. If there was an item that would directly impact your way of living, your daily routines, and potential value of your home, would you not want specific care, attention, and discussion of this item among the board? We, as the board, need to be mindful of the perception this puts out to the public. These items impact their way of life and not getting the attention, consideration, and conversations they deserve. It's my request that while putting together our monthly agendas to be mindful of the sensitivity of these items and recognize the board's impact that we're making on our community and citizens when we're making these decisions. I don't feel that this was an appropriate item to be placed on a consent agenda, and I thank you for moving it to a new item of business. Now, when I first received this item, I was most concerned about the location of having a connector, this small neighborhood, and making it accessible through such a large project such as the Blair West expansion project, as a potential cut through the Ridge neighborhood to Lake Road. I understand there's a city ordinance that there must be 2 ways out of a subdivision over 30 homes. Though I don't like the placement of Dobson Knob Trail as a connector, after being told by the developer for the past 8 to 10 years there would be a second entrance connecting Sweet Maple Knoll to Waldron. However, after setting my emotions aside and concerns about the project, my focus changed from the location of the second entrance point to who exactly was paying for the second entrance point. This is not really about the placement for me, but who's ultimately responsible for paying for the infrastructure of this development. After speaking the past week, I've come to learn that it's ultimately the developer's responsibility to ensure development falls within our city ordinances. This developer obligated to the city ordinance when he proposed the Ridge development nearly 10 years ago, and now these infrastructures, the original responsibility of the developer, are being proposed to be dumped on our taxpayers. I understand the developer has since sold the property that was to accommodate the second entrance to the Industrial Development Board. However, there has been no mention in this sale that would absolve him from his obligation to make this development comply within our ordinances. Now, our taxpayers in this neighborhood have already been dealing with the inadequacies of this specific developer for the past 5 to 10 years, and it's certainly unfair to pass even more burden onto these taxpayers as a result of his incompetency. Just some backstory about this particular development of the Ridge, where this connector will take place, is that the majority of the homes of the residents there bought their homes nearly 5 to 10 years ago. Many people chose to purchase homes in this development with promises of great amenities and supposedly a grand entrance by the developer. One of those things, as Kurt mentioned earlier, was the community pool. It wasn't after much pressure from the residents they finally agreed to pursue this obligation after 8 long years. However, the residents were strong-armed into either accepting a small residential-sized pool to accommodate the neighborhood, with several homes in the neighborhood already with pools surpassing the size of what our developer had offered, or accepting a measly $50,000 towards a future pool of what would be planned by an HOA at a later date. Needless to say, $50,000 won't come close to covering the cost of a pool. They were left with no choice but to accept the offer to build a residential-sized pool, which is still not complete. Speaking of any sort of HOA, the developer and the builder of this development refused to relinquish control of the HOA to the residents that live there, even in phases when the development had been long completed. By not relinquishing that control, they're able to manipulate the bylaws and covenants of the current phases to accommodate the desires and financial motivations, or lack thereof, of the developer and the builder. In addition, the residents were promised a grand entrance with water feature. Over the last 8 years, when concerns were repeatedly expressed about this supposed grand entrance, they were given a rusted corrugated metal sign that looked like a high school woodshop project that fell down every time the wind blew. And it was like that for years. It was only last year the developer agreed to new signage. But again, it was not paid for by the developer. It was paid at the expense of the residents there. For the last 8 years or more, the developer has dismissed our request to fulfill the obligation of a grand entrance by saying the Lake Road entrance was just a secondary entrance. The grand entrance was coming at the end of Waldron Road. Now he's looking to completely absolve himself of fulfilling any obligations he made when he presented the Ridge to the board more than 10 years ago. My point in sharing these inadequacies is that our taxpayers have already been duped by this developer enough. I'm not willing to pass any more expenses onto them incurred at the negligence of the developer to fulfill obligations to the city. The developer was aware of this ordinance when he planned the ridge 10 years ago or more. It's his responsibility to make it fall within those laws and ordinance and fund the infrastructure of a second entrance, not our taxpayers. I propose to you today that we put a stop work order, stop permitting any further building or development at the ridge until the developer can figure out a solution to where a second access point will be completed. I don't care if the Industrial Development Board gives him back the project or whatever it takes. It's ultimately his responsibility, logistically and financially, to figure out how to provide the infrastructure that was presented to the board when he presented the ridge. With all that to be said, and furthermore express my sentiments here, I'm not opposed to development, but I am opposed to politicians who won't hold developers accountable to deliver on what they've presented to the Planning Commission, the board, and our constituents. Thank you.
Anyone have anything else?
I do. You know what? A lot of the people, when this development was going on at the ridge, a lot of the citizens out there was up in rage and was against it. And a lot of them was a long-time resident. They knew what was coming. They knew this was coming, and you know it's going to be an ongoing thing for the next 6 to 10 years. You know, this board was told about it, was warned about it, but this board on majority went on and went through and approved that. But and I'd have to apologize to myself. I did vote against it, but I apologize to y'all for the stuff that y'all are going through now and the stuff that y'all going to be going through for the next 10 years. Y'all don't deserve it. Y'all went over and bought and built real nice houses, and it's a shame. Thank you.
Do want to point out to the Planning Commission, there's not been any type of submittal for a grand entrance. So that would have come in later phases, so that was never presented to the Planning Commission to approve. At that point, if there was, then they would be obligated, or whoever owns the property would have to fulfill that site plan.
There. I'll clarify. It was
Right.
presented to the home buyers by the developer there.
Right, but we wouldn't be able to hold them responsible to something that's not approved by the city.
I agree. I don't necessarily hold them responsible for building an entrance for our specific subdivision, but I do think they should be held responsible for the roadways and the second connector.
Okay. Any other discussion?
So it's, I had a long, and I know you all did too. I can't imagine nobody didn't talk with Kyle, Bruce, our economic team. But I did have an extensive talk with all of them. And this is one of those situations, sitting on this board, you have to make tough decisions. But the IDB did not buy that property out there. And Kyle, you can correct me anytime. The IDB did not buy that property out there to do anything except commercial and retail. There will be some other things. The gentleman that was up here speaking said, I wish you all would tell us something. We can't do that because until, just like we knew about Aldi's, we knew about Chipotle's, we knew about Panda Express, we knew about that stuff, but we couldn't say nothing because until the owner says, talk about it, we can't say anything. I wish we could tell people exactly what was happening, but what I'd like to do is let Kyle explain, if I'm correct, that when the widening of Walden Road starts, if they don't have somewhere to get out of their own way, when that area from Blair to Lake Road, then the city and its taxpayers is going to have to pay money to get a bypass put through there. Is that correct, Kyle?
Well, staff had met with the design engineers about a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago, but I think it's about a month and a half ago. We also met with the school. I ain't gonna say, I don't know what department exactly he was with, but it's maintenance, and I know he's got a lot of the school system as far as the bus routes, access, and all that. It's kind of under his direction. So we was trying to discuss how we're going to go through the construction process when we do South Waldron. During that conversation, and trying to leave the school out of the conversation right now, between Blair and Lake, it was discussed and asked if we have a bypass or a detour that could be used other than just having the road have to have temporary laneage, temporary traffic control, and being able to not shut that road down. So at that point in time, we had looked at the option, and that's why it's on here tonight, of Kimley-Horn doing the design for the Dobson Knob Trail extension to Blair West, since they're already doing Blair West. That connection, from what estimates we've got right now, and these are just estimates, but you're looking at maybe around $450,000, maybe $500,000 for this Dobson Knob Trail extension to be built, with the potential on the savings, because the design engineer looked at this. We're thinking maybe you would save maybe $2 million if this extension is built, because the construction time can be reduced, and it would be more easily constructed if you have a detour route in place. So that is why we put it on the agenda, because yes, it is going to cost the taxpayers to pay for the road extension at a cost maybe around $450,000, $500,000, but it's with the potential savings of $2 million as far as the construction of South Waldron, and both projects together will be funded by tax dollars.
And I know it's hard to ask, but patience in this case is a virtue. But after listening to Kara, or Alderwoman Hobbs, I'm sorry, I wasn't around when all that stuff was going down. But that developer, you're right. That you know what? I don't know who it was. I think I got an idea, but you guys have been treated bad. But in this case, what they're trying to do out there in the IDB, they will have control over that. Is that correct? Over when they start building and.
Well, the IDB owns their property, so what we would do is basically, you'll see another, kind of like agenda item number 6, resolution for the land acquisition policy. We'll have to bring that in front of you again to ask the IDB for a donation of that property that the extension would be in. Once they give that to the city, then of course we would be able to build the roadway in it. Now, when it comes to the entire development and what they own, that is up to them, yes, as the IDB, to sell to whatever developer they choose.
I know you all got emails. I even got a phone call. And I talked with the lady out there. She lives right there at the end of that road, and I gave her the economic development team's phone number, and after she talked with them, and she's willing to be patient. A lot of good things are coming, but it's not a win-win situation for everybody right at this moment, but it will end up being that way. And unfortunately, there's going to be some growing pains. But our IDB board, our planning board, they got some really, really super good things coming down the pipe.
Let's talk about the Industrial Development Board for a minute. I just want to be mindful that, that property was paid for with $6.5 million of taxpayer money. That's your money. And to say that the Industrial Development Board is not going to work with citizens on development or the city for services that are needed for the purpose of having commercial and retail, again, that board spent millions of dollars of taxpayer monies. This is about you. And I'm not here to argue if this is a good economic development prospect or not, but even so, the prediction of a good economic development opportunity, it's exactly that, a prediction, an estimate, a guess, and by no means guarantees that we're going to have a good investment there. I'm not willing to risk the cons or the bad aspects of what we know will happen as a result of this connector, which is increased traffic and increased safety risks for our residents, just for a gamble on potentially good economic development. Increased tax revenues does not equate to greater quality of life. A good economic development prospect does not outweigh the impacts of the quality of life of our residents by making changes constituents don't want or like. And I remind you, the city is not a for-profit corporation. Our job is to provide a better quality of life for our residents, not to make money.
The IDB board is used taxpayers' money to buy property for developers. The city's not gonna build anything. They're buying property to sell to developers. In some cases, they might sell it to them for less than the market value, because we proved that with the old post office. The
Post office hasn't been
and,
sold.
you know, they're gonna buy property with y'all's money for the developers. You know, and that's something that's a little cloudy issue on that. You know, this board needs to spend more time covering the citizens other than covering outside developers. You know, outside developers is good, but the citizens needs to have somebody to talk for them other than this board up here talking for developers. You know, because a lot of people is a new resident, some been here for a long time, and they ought to be treated the same. Thank you.
If I would have been on this board 10 years ago and that developer was telling you all that stuff, I'd have done something about it. But we see who didn't. But anyway.
Well, now's your chance to make it right.
As I've said 1,000 times, and I stick by it, we do not run this city. We get the final say so. We have to listen to our department heads and our employees, our attorneys, our administrators. We have to. That's the only way. And after talking with a bunch of them, the best thing for the entire city, it's going to be painful out there when all that stuff starts, and it's not going to happen this weekend. It's going to be some growing pains, but as a whole, over the years, it's going to be good for myself that live over here, the people in Lake Forest, the people on this side, and it will be good for the people out there, but it's going to be some growing pains, and our department heads, our administrators, our engineers, everybody says that is the best way because it's going to save us money. And that's the. We have to listen to them. We have to.
We also have the opportunity to critical think and make our own decisions.
Absolutely.
You know, sometimes I should shut my mouth, but something is said here, I just can't shut my mouth. You know, this board does not do anything. This board does what the mayor tells them to do. And I know it, the employees know it, the citizens out there
Alderman
know
Waldron,
it.
we don't need personal attacks here. I do want to correct one thing that was stated by one of our residents, and I'm sure it was put out to that individual incorrectly, and it was reiterated by a member of this board. The Waldron Road expansion is not a 10-year project. Completion is 2028. That's 4 years away. Blair West is 2026. So the first phase of Waldron Road's expansion, which would be Blair Road to the city limits with Smyrna, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and Kyle, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that's November of 26 from what was sent over to me.
Well, I think the Blair West would be more in the 20, I think it was the 27 range, basically, and then South Waldron would be 3 different phases.
The first phase.
Yeah, to get from the interstate where it currently is widened all the way out to Rock Springs. It would be 3 phases, and all 3 phases, I think the estimate right now was around 2030 right now to be in with all 3 phases.
Okay, because the Excel spreadsheet I had from you was 28.
I'd have to look at that because I think it's more like 2030.
So definitely not 10 years. But any other questions about this this item? We have a motion to approve and a second. Any other discussion?
I think I could go on, but, you know, it's useless. The vote, I can tell you what the vote's gonna go. I'm ready to do a vote on it.
Okay, Alderman Waldron.
No.
Alderwoman Hobbs?
No.
Alderwoman Haas?
Aye.
Vice Mayor, no?
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion passes. Moving on to Mayor and Alderman comments. Alderman Waldron.
One thing, people notice that I've been voting pass on some things, and somebody mentioned a while back you can't pass, but I done a class up in Knoxville about a few weeks ago, and I brought this up with TML, and they gave me a whole book of stuff, and it states clearly in this book that I got from TML, and I got the guy's card. He said anybody has any question to be sure to call him, and he will school you on it. Right here it says, abstain and pass on the same paragraph. So pass must be a legal deal because it's on the same, if you can't pass, you can't abstain. And, but I got the guy's name, his card, and his email right here. He said if anybody has any problem with it, to call him. I know it's brought up you can't pass. And I brought it up 2 or 3 weeks, and nobody said anything about passing. But I've been ready for them because I've had the stuff there to contradict them. But getting to another issue, TDS Telecom has been in my neighborhood all day repairing lines. The squirrels has ate into the lines. So if y'all have any trouble with telephone, inline telephone cable, or TDS Telecom, it could be squirrels that's ate into the line because over there around Merritt and Irving and that area, they've been over there all day and they're going to be able tomorrow replacing lines. Getting to, like I mentioned when the fire department today is fire prevention, good time to replace your smoke alarm batteries. And October is Adopt Shelter Dog Month. On that note, make sure your pets has got ample water and shade. And check and replace batteries and smoke alarms. And check on your elderly. Thank you.
Alderwoman Haas.
Oh,
Or Hobbs, sorry. I'm looking right at you.
I'm appalled at the lack of openness of some of the members of our board to empathize, listen, and compromise with our taxpayers to come up with alternative solutions, both that the community, leadership, and our staff can agree upon. There's been no opportunity for collaboration with citizens that are directly impacted by this decision and to turn around and to make them as taxpayers pay for this project when it's ultimately the responsibility of the developer to fill obligations to the city is wrong. That's all.
Alderwoman Haas.
Halloween is coming up, so everyone, this Thursday, October 31st, so I know it's a bit of ways because we're at the beginning of the month, but remember to drive slowly through the neighborhoods because there's going to be kids and adults walking and trick-or-treating. That's all.
Vice Mayor, no.
Yes, sir. This Saturday, for you folks watching at home, this Saturday from 7 a.m. until noon, my buddy John with the driveway group will have dumpsters down at the Laverne Senior Center. You know how much it is to get rid of electronics and how hard it is. So make sure you bring your electronics down there from 7 till noon. There is no charge, but we will, however, graciously take donations for our senior center. So get rid of those electronics. I know you got some laying around. Last but not least, we have Mr. Andrew. I will point this towards you in case you don't know.
He's gone.
He left.
Did he leave? Well, he's no fun to him. So we'll point it towards Joe. We have an old man amongst us this evening, Joe. So just, wanted to let you know if he's hard of hearing sometimes, but I want to wish our mayor happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
Was it 48, 49? I forget. Anyway, happy birthday, sir. I know Phil Wilson will have fun with that.
Thank you, sir. First, I want to thank Rutherford County. We got Leadership Rutherford members here who wanted to come and view and sit in on our meetings. So welcome to you guys. I do want to acknowledge County Commissioner Phil Wilson is here, and will be joining us next month to give us an update from the county to the board. Do want to thank Pastor Randy Berg and the Boy Scouts for coming and leading us both in prayer and our pledge. Do want to say at least one of these items got me back in touch with an old colleague, my favorite pharmacist, Miss Bessie, who's actually here with the meeting and lives in the Ridge. So love seeing her, and we've been catching up in the back. We've got a lot of announcements coming for the city, a lot of good things. Murfreesboro Road is about to explode with activity, and the city is definitely growing. So I do want to thank the police department at National Night Out. Chief Durham and I were all talking, and the number of police officers that we have now, one of the highest that we've had, and it's people are still coming on. So that's great to see, and they're making an impact in our community. Do we need more impact? Absolutely, but that will come with time and the budget as we keep passing it. So definitely a lot's going on. I do want to thank engineering and our planning department, because both of them have been running nonstop with everything coming in. So, and want to wish the best to our PIO, Ann Smith, who is expecting a little one soon. So, and Elizabeth in our finance department, who is due any day now. So, great to hear. Good things happening in the city. Call this meeting adjourned.